And hello and welcome once again to the Mayor's Magazine. I'm Mick Cornett, the Mayor of Oklahoma City, and this is our show for February 2014. We're going to get started with a reminder of how important the Allied Arts organization is to the City of Oklahoma City and all the member organizations that are helped by the Allied Arts, and an opportunity to meet the co-chairs of the 2014 campaign, Judy Love and Mike Turpen. Welcome to the Mayor's Magazine.
Thank you very
Thanks
much.
for having us.
Well, you bet.
Yeah.
And I want to get on here and talk about all the wonderful work that this organization does. And Judy, talk about the need for this. Why do we need an Allied Arts campaign?
Oh, well, there's just multiple reasons for needing one. We need it to attract tourism. We need it to create jobs. We need it for our children, for our people, for everybody to be exposed to this.
Yeah.
Right. And it would be so difficult if all of our art organizations had to go out and raise the money for themselves, had to hire their own fundraisers, had to go out and hold their own opportunities for people to help, because most people are aware that when you go pay for an arts performance, you probably didn't meet the bottom line of that organization. If we're going to have arts, they're going to have to be funded philanthropically or through the donation process.
And we like to say it's something Judy and I came up with, Mayor. This is original material. And I called it the 3 E's. And why do we need the arts? You asked the question. Why do we need the arts?
Why do we need the arts, Mike?
That's the question. Yeah. Thank you for asking. And we like to say first E is entertainment. That's pretty obvious. We all want to be entertained by the diverse arts that we have here in Oklahoma City and central Oklahoma and the whole state. We like to say the second one's the economy. Who'd want to stay here or move here, economically speaking, if you didn't have a rich and diverse arts community? The third one I like to say is education. We're teaching young people in all these arts agencies that we help. I like to say we're teaching young people how to break the silence of a room with the sound of their voice. And
But then there's a fourth E.
Yeah, no.
You forgot about my E.
so I came up with these 3 E's, and Judy came up with the 4th E.
What's the fourth E?
We didn't need an ad.
Exposure. A lot of people are never exposed
Yeah, they don't
to
have
the
the
arts.
opportunity. They don't have access
Children
to the arts.
That's right.
or adults.
I can still remember in the 4th grade that my class all got on a school bus and we came to the Civic Center
Exposed to the arts.
and we saw the Philharmonic with Guy Fraser Harrison directing.
You
I never
forgot.
would have been able to see them without
Yeah.
somebody taking the time and
Yes.
effort to see that we got on a bus and came down here. I wouldn't
Well,
have been
you're the
exposed.
perfect example.
Yeah.
And Allied Arts probably paid for it.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
did.
And
So
that's the idea, though, right there. Those 4 E's, don't forget them, Mayor. We didn't have to hire an ad firm or anything. We just did that on our own. That's how creative Judy and I are.
the 4 E's.
Well, should I go through them again? No.
Give us some examples. I don't know if we want to list every one of them, but give us some examples of the art organizations that are helped.
Well, I'm a little biased on
Okay.
one, Judy, and you know what I'm going to say. I've spent a lot of time over at Lyric Theater, so I got to be careful about that because we have 26 organizations now we help directly, and others through special grants and such. But over at Lyric Theater, for guys' sakes, they've been around about 50 years now. They just celebrated their 50th anniversary, as did Love's Travel Stops.
Ooh,
Yeah.
throw in that plug.
But Tom and Judy, they don't need the advertising here, Mayor, but this is their 50th anniversary this month.
Right.
Actually January. Last month is a February show. It's also the 50th anniversary of Lyric Theater. We got our shows downtown. Lyric Theater has their shows over there in the Plaza Theater, in the Plaza District. But more importantly, we have the Thelma Gaylord Academy where all these young people, I've said it before, I'll say it again, learn how to break the silence of a room with the sound of their voice. And Judy and I believe all these arts organizations are helping a lot of young people find their own unique voice in life.
The Museum of Art, the National Cowboy Hall of Fame, that is just one of our new.
Yeah.
I have a list of the Carpenter Square Theater, the Canterbury Choral Society, the ballet, the Philharmonic, Shakespeare in the Park, just some examples of organizations that are benefiting. So how can people help? If someone out there is watching the show and they'd like to be a part of the fundraising effort, what should they do?
www.alliedertsok.com
All right.
or call the Allied Arts office.
Put
she
that at
right?
the bottom
Is
of
that
the
it?
screen.
Yes, that's incredible. She's got to memorize. See, we're on message here. I didn't know that. Yeah, you just reach out to Allied Arts. I mean, you can find them, but thank you. 26 agencies, and we got 6 brand new ones. We talked about them a little bit.
Yeah.
Can I run those down real quick, or maybe
Yeah,
not?
go ahead. I'm
Okay.
looking through my notes for one other thing I wanted to talk about, so go ahead.
Okay, Dead Center Film Festival, the Firehouse Art Center, National Cowboy and Western Heritage Center. We call it the Cowboy Hall of Fame, but you know, we know what we're talking about here. The Opry Heritage Foundation, Red Earth, and Sooner Theater. Very important to point out, Sooner Theater, for example, that's down in Norman. We're not talking Oklahoma City. We're talking all of central Oklahoma, if not the whole state, because a lot of our programs, you know, are accessible to people from all over the state of Oklahoma. We have season ticket holders from all over the state for a lot of these organizations.
One way I've gotten involved is to buy the city card, the OK City card. It costs $50, but along with the money going to the Allied Arts, it also allows you some special discounts in regional activities. And a lot of times you can get 2 for 1. If you were diligent about using it, I'm sure it would more than pay for itself by the end of the year, especially
no
if you have
doubt.
kids or grandkids or relatives that you're taking to events. But it's a wonderful way to get involved. Again, that's the OK City card, a $50 donation, but then a lot of freebies come with that.
No question. Thanks for bringing that up.
You bet.
I have one in my wallet, but I'll pull it out later.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The final 30 seconds. Why is this important to you, Judy? You get opportunities to help a lot of organizations, and you've chosen Allied Arts as an area that you want to get involved with. Why is it important to you?
Well, it's just what we've been talking about, Mick. It's just that it's so beneficial to so many people. Children, adults. It brings people to town. It keeps people in town. It has everything going for it.
And we are Major League in the Arts, aren't we, Mike?
Yeah, we are Major League City, Mayor, thanks to you. Well, largely. I mean that sincerely. I say that respectfully. But we are Major League in the Arts as well. And Judy and I have had a great time, Mayor, traveling all over the state together. I know we're almost done here, but we've been to Ada to see you-know-who, Governor Bill Anatubby, who's our honorary chair this year for the 2014 campaign. And we're even headed to Durant to see Chief Greg Pyle. We've traversed the state together for Allied Arts.
43rd year of this organization, and they have raised, coincidentally, over $43 million. This year's fundraising goal, much above the traditional average, $3.2 million. So you two have your work cut out for you.
Yes, we do.
We'll do it.
And we'll do it, and we believe fundraising must be fun. And, you know.
Sounds like another slogan you came up with.
Well, no. Well, if you don't mind, Mayor, where's the camera? If you ain't giving, you ain't living. That's the one we're living by here, baby. Yeah.
I can't believe we're out of time. We've had so much fun here in this segment. But
Judy, we just got started.
I
What's going on?
very much the two of you and the time you expend on behalf of the arts and for the citizens of Oklahoma City. So thank you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. Thanks for having us.
We'll have more on the Mayor's Magazine after this.
I enrich our cultural landscape.
I help define our quality of life.
I am one of 4,000 artists in central Oklahoma who receive
support from Allied Arts, this community's united arts organization.
I am an Allied artist.
Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine. In this segment, we're going to learn more about the Myriad Gardens and the fun things that are going on in the upcoming spring and summer months. And Maureen Heffernan is here. She is the Executive Director of the Myriad Gardens Foundation.
Yes.
Great to have you back.
Thank you.
The Myriad Gardens and the Botanical Gardens, as some people refer to it, is a 4 square block area, kind of in the center of downtown, that has really, with the recent facelift, become a wonderful urban park. And I think most people in our community are proud of it and have started making visits. But it's one of your jobs to not only make sure that it looks great when they come, but to have programming in the park to continue to draw people in.
That's really key, to keep it active and interesting, changing and dynamic. So we spend almost as much time on programming as we do the upkeep, the maintenance of the park. And job number one, though, we are an urban park, we're a botanical garden, we're kind of a hybrid. And so we spend a lot of time, and we're going to do a lot more with the grounds itself, planting, adding in diversity, plant labels. So we really are a true botanic garden. That's our core mission. But at the same time, we want to have lots of different activities. And one thing, if people watching this program, we want feedback. So we want to know how we're doing, what programs you'd like to see, what could we do more of. We really want to reach out to people and get their feedback so we can program it in really interesting ways. And
there are all sorts of things to do there, but there are areas of the park dedicated to kids. There are dedicated to pet owners, and there's also on what is a much larger lawn, you hold large events with music and even movies during the summer. Are you going to continue those in 2014?
Yes, absolutely. Our movie nights have been such a hit. They're really fun, and we're just in fact selecting our movie lineup for the summer. We'll continue those on Wednesday evenings. We'd like to do that night. It's so popular, have some other events that evening and really make Wednesday a fun night to come out to the park. with our new restaurants that have opened, the Park House, the Ice House in the seasonal months, March through October. That's a great place to come to as an activity or a destination. Lots of other activities, music series we want to do. We want to do lots of programs for children and families, art exhibits, lots of educational programs as well to learn about plants, gardening. And again, we hope to have something for everybody there. And we want it to be a place where I don't know what to do today, but I'll go to the gardens. Something should be happening there that's fun. So that's our goal.
And when we talk about watching a movie at the Myriad Botanical Gardens, it's an outdoor movie, which is, you know, kind of a generation beyond us. I remember as a kid going to movies with my parents in the car and enjoying myself. But you know, we're raising a generation now that hadn't seen a whole lot of movies with a collective audience outside.
Yeah, it's a really interesting feeling to be there. It's hard to describe, but it's so much fun because you're right downtown. You see all the lights, the beautiful Devon complex, the gardens in the evening. This movie is going. And so it is this wonderful communal experience for people. Even if you aren't interested in the movie, I think people like to come down and just be part of it. And it's all kinds of people, all walks of life. It's really, it feels like the living room of Oklahoma City.
And for that, you need a blanket or a lawn chair.
Yes.
Yeah, because there's no seating, so you're
right.
You're
Everybody
on your own.
usually
Some people like sitting on the ground. Some people don't, and so they respond accordingly.
And come early. It gets very popular. It gets crowded.
It does, and I'll be excited to hear when you've chosen the movies because I think a lot of people what you try to show is movies that were very popular in a distant time, and so people may have fond memories and want others in their family to see these memories.
Exactly. Yeah, and musicals are really popular, which you can kind of sing along.
You can sing along.
So
who can stop?
Yeah, we're trying to figure out what that is this year.
And talk about the music events that'll be held, the concerts that'll be held.
The Arts Council of Oklahoma City, they are a great partner. They'll be doing their Sunday Twilight concert starting in mid-June, going all the way through September. And we're trying to come up at the Myriad Gardens with a new concert series. And I'm not quite sure what that will be, but it may be Americana, which is really having a comeback now, or some kind of niche musical genre that we could create a really quality, authentic music festival. So we're working on that. We will probably bring back a farmer's market we did last year. We'd like to grow that, and other activities. We've got a lot of things we'll be offering new this year, so just stay tuned. Go to our website, become a member. You'll get all of our publications and see what's happening.
When I first visited the park, I was astonished that the play area for kids didn't have swing sets and teeter-totters and gigantic slides like so many of our city parks do. It's extremely interesting, but I've got to say, when I've taken my granddaughters there, it's captivating. They do not want to leave at any point. And how are these activities selected to go in this children's park? How did we know that kids were going to like to do that? Because these are not necessarily traditional type activities.
They're not. They're really self-directed, and they require kids to use their imagination to do something, to interact with them. And the park designers, Office of James Burnett, they're based in San Diego, they have access to the latest, greatest things that people are doing in playgrounds. So they were able to access what is different, what's compelling, what's different, and they put that in the playground side. The other half of the children's garden complex is the garden part, and that's where we're improving that all the time with different things that can change in there, growing things, exhibits. We started Pumpkinville, which has been a huge hit in the fall, and this May we're bringing books to life. We got a grant from the Junior League of Oklahoma City. And so we're using their funds and we're getting some sponsorships to bring the Secret Garden book to life, which is a book that a lot of kids have read and they're charmed by it, the discovery of how a garden can transform you. So we're bringing that book to life May for about 2 weeks, and I think it's going to be stunning. We're getting local artists involved. It will be a real experience, and so we'll be doing that in the children's garden. That will always be changing, whether it's a large exhibit or smaller things that people can come and discover. And hopefully that side of the children's complex is a place where kids will learn something. And really, we hope, start to nurture in them a love and discovery, a fascination, appreciation for plants, gardening, growing things. We hope that's an outdoor classroom.
website information for people that want to learn more?
MyriadGardens.com. You can go there or sign up for our free e-newsletter. Just give us your email and you'll get every Wednesday what's happening the next week.
All right. Maureen Heffernan, the Executive Director of the Myriad Gardens Foundation. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for all she does for Oklahoma City. She is an amazing person with an amazing staff. Hope you'll enjoy the park this spring and summer. We'll have more on the Mayor's Magazine after this.
Keeping Oklahoma City beautiful is all of our responsibilities. Tall grass or weeds, dead or diseased trees and shrubs are a health and fire hazard. Neglected yards and landscaping not only put public health at risk, but also pets, wildlife, and neighborhood children. City ordinance requires owners to maintain their property and right-of-ways. By reporting abuse, you're protecting your property value and helping us keep Oklahoma City beautiful.
Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine. Our guest in this segment is Darnell Mayberry. He covers the Oklahoma City Thunder for the Oklahoman. Welcome.
Thank you.
Well, the Thunder's off to another really good season, and the playoffs are coming up here at the end of March and in April and hopefully May and June. What perspectives do you offer about this 2013-2014 Thunder team that may not be typical of what we've seen in past years?
Well, I think the interesting thing is they're becoming a better team. Even though they lost James Harden 2 years ago, they lost Kevin Martin, and there was a lot of angst that they didn't sign anyone, and you were coming off the Russell Westbrook injury. There were a lot of concerns about how he would respond and come back off that knee injury, but they've become a better team. You're seeing Kevin Durant blossom into a true superstar. He has been for years, but he's really taking his game to another level this year. And now you're seeing young players start to be integrated and developed to where they're contributing now. And I think that's really helping this team. It's probably going to bode well for them in the playoffs.
Is this the deepest team? Do you think there are more players who can contribute to an NBA victory on this team than there have been in the past?
I think so. When you look at guys like Reggie Jackson, Jeremy Lamb, Perry Jones III, and then the 12th overall pick, Steven Adams out of Pittsburgh. He's really contributing good minutes right now behind Kendrick Perkins. And I think those young guys have given this team a nice mix of shooting, driving ability, passing, playmaking, and rebounding and defense. So I think these guys are all developing nicely and helping out this team, surrounding guys like Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and Serge Ibaka.
We see labels applied to a team, and sometimes they say, well, they're a good regular season team, and the other teams are designed for the playoffs. What's the difference between a regular season team and a team that might go far in the playoffs?
Well, if you ask Charles Barkley, it's a jump shooting team in the regular season that doesn't make it in the playoffs, and that's kind of what he's labeled the Thunder. I disagree with that. I think the Thunder gets a good mix of jump shots and paint points, whether it's back to the basket points or driving with guys like Russell Westbrook and Reggie Jackson, and they get to the free throw line. I think those are the things that you have to do in the playoffs. You have to be able to play defense, get paint points, and defend. If you can defend, rebound, and score easy buckets inside, I think you can be a good playoff team.
Steven Adams has certainly come on as a rookie. Is he that all-around post player that Oklahoma City's been looking for several years?
Not quite. I think he's more of a rugged, raw type of guy. He's going to be physical and make his presence known on rebounding, defending, and really getting putback points, garbage points, if you will. He's not going to be a guy where you can just dump the ball to him just yet and expect points, 10 to 15 points down there. But he can get easy buckets just by running the floor, rebounding, getting putbacks, and catching passes from Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant.
How have you seen Kevin Durant develop since the first year the Thunder was here and you covered him to where he is today?
Well, he's grown. He's grown physically. He's grown, I think, emotionally. You're starting to see him become more of a vocal leader and more of a leader on the floor. He's leading by example, but he's also showing young guys how they need to do things in this league. And it's really been impressive to see because the guy came into the league at such a young age, only 1 year of college, and now he's become widely considered the second best player in the world. It's fortunate for us we get to have him right here in Oklahoma City, but I think his game has just really developed to where he's now doing more things. When he first came in, he was just kind of scoring the basketball, and now he's rebounding, he's making his teammates better and playing better defense.
If we were speaking a year ago, we would talk about Russell Westbrook and his durability, how he never misses a game.
Yeah.
And now there's a different perception with the injury that he suffered in the playoffs, and then some doctor's opinions that he might need to have some additional work done, and of course he's not playing as we tape this show today, expected to be back. How has his development changed in your perspective in the last year? Do you think differently of Russell Westbrook because of these physical issues that he's faced?
I think these issues have given us all more of an appreciation for Russell Westbrook. It was a time when you would kind of question whether or not he was shooting too much or not getting the ball to Kevin Durant enough. And now, without Russell Westbrook, you're starting to see how much this team really needs him. And I think that's the most important thing. It's unfortunate that it took an injury to really gain an appreciation for Russell Westbrook, but the pressure that he puts on defenses and his ability to score and just be a nonstop force, it's really given this team a different dynamic that no team in the league has when you put him next to Kevin Durant.
And again, we're taping this show in late January, but how do you think the Thunder matches up in the playoff situation with the other good teams in the West?
I think you'd have to consider them the favorite. They've shown in the past their ability to compete with other elite teams when healthy. If Russell Westbrook is fully healthy, and you know what you're going to get from Kevin Durant, I think if you can integrate some of these young guys in and get some really good contributions out of them in the postseason, I think they can make another finals run. I mean, there's not a team in the Western Conference that really should scare you if you're a Thunder fan, just because the Thunder has more talent, they've got more continuity, and I think they've got better chemistry than a lot of these other teams that have gone out and gotten Dwight Howards or Andre Iguodala with the Golden State Warriors. These teams are integrating new pieces where the Thunder already has their core intact, and I think that's going to help them in the long run.
The best of the rest: San Antonio, Golden State, Memphis, perhaps, Portland certainly with a great record. Who do you see as the main contender to get out of the West and get to the finals?
I think you still have to give the edge to San Antonio if we're taking the Thunder out of it. They've been there. They've got probably the best coach in the league in Greg Popovich, and they've got Tony Parker, Tim Duncan, and Manu Ginobili. As long as they have those three guys, you have to give them a chance to make it back to the finals.
All right. You can read Darnell Mayberry's work on the Oklahoman. Of course, read about it in the Oklahoman and available online in a lot of media sources. Darnell, we appreciate your work, and we appreciate the time you took to come over and talk about the Thunder in depth with our audience.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
All right. And the playoffs coming up in Oklahoma City, April, and then hopefully in May and June as well. We'll be back with more of the Mayor's Magazine after this.
In Oklahoma, the sights and sounds of severe weather are all too familiar. Do you know what to do when you hear a tornado siren? I'm Frank Barnes, Oklahoma City Emergency Manager. In Oklahoma City, the sirens sound to warn you that weather conditions may produce a tornado. That's your signal to turn on your TV or radio and discover where severe weather may strike. And remember, an all-clear signal does not sound. Always monitor the weather conditions until the threat has passed.
Welcome back to the Mayor's Magazine. Beth Crounse is the manager of the Action Center. Welcome to the Mayor's Magazine.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate you having me.
The Action Center is, of course, where people can call and get the city to address an issue that they're having. In general, you can probably call them about a lot of different things, but in general, people see something, they need something, they call the Action Center. Here's, though, what I want you to concentrate on. Give us an idea of what the Action Center is like. How many people are in there? How busy is it? How do you all report, this wide variety of phone calls that come in? What's it like on a daily basis in the Action Center?
We stay pretty busy, and we're a small crew, but we're a mighty crew. I have a great staff that works in there. I have 2 full-time positions and 1 part-time position that works in there. So on a daily, we take phone calls, we work emails, we listen to voicemails. So there's all sorts of ways that people can contact us. So
give me an example of the variety of calls that you get.
Well, we might get something such as the yard is overgrown.
A neighbor's yard.
A neighbor's yard is overgrown. That's the #1 concern that we get in the city throughout every year. It's always tall grass and weeds is our #1 concern.
And especially with all the rain we received last year.
Absolutely. Last year was a banner year for us with tall grass and weeds, for sure. But we have people calling us for information as well. It could be something going on in the city. It could be if there's an ice storm. In the winter wintertime, we get very involved with residents throughout that time period. So we just get anything and everything that you can imagine, we get calls on.
What percentage of calls actually have to do with a service the city delivers, but someone might have a need, but it's your staff's job to kind of tell them and direct them that might be a state service, or might even be the federal government that's typically responsible? How often does that happen?
We get calls every day for state agencies or county.
So someone calls and says, I didn't get my Social Security check. What would happen? What would you tell them?
We would refer them to that department within the state to track that down and find out where where their check is. We have contacts with the state offices as well as the county offices, so we generally work pretty close with the other entities.
What are some other frequent calls to the Action Center? I assume people call about potholes that they might have seen in their neighborhood or on an adjoining arterial street?
Yes, potholes are a big call. Junk and debris in neighbors' yards, property maintenance issues. I know we're having an emphasis put on the dilapidated buildings within our city and whatnot, and we get several calls where those are concerned, or unsecured structures. So I always encourage the public, whatever it is that you see or need help with, to contact the Action Center. We're really the hub of a wheel. If you think about the hub, the Action Center's the hub for contacting the city, and then the spokes of that wheel go out to all the different city departments. And so we're kind of the focal point that we assist and help that citizen maneuver within the city, if you will.
And what's the most frequent call to the Action Center?
The most frequent call would have to be high grass and weeds.
Okay, even this time of year?
Not this time of year, but spring through summer. We take about 100,000 calls a year in the Action Center. And one year I saw 28,000 high grass and weed calls alone. So
wow.
it is I always encourage people, take care of your yard.
What is the phone number for the Action Center?
It's 297-2535. Or you can reach us on the website, okc.gov. Or you can send us an email at action.center@okc.gov.
And all of that information is on the screen now.
Yes.
Thank you, Beth, very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Beth Crounse and her great staff at the Action Center, helping the citizens of Oklahoma City deal with issues that they might be addressing. And I hope you'll give them a call the next time you need our help. That's going to do it for this month's edition of the Mayor's Magazine. I want to thank all of our guests for coming on the show, and I want to appreciate you for watching. And we'll see you next month with another edition of the Mayor's Magazine.